What's up, guys? It's another Monday. It's the front seat quarterback. I call myself on Mondays. A little wrap up on the football. College, there wasn't much to talk about. Marquee game of the night was Notre Dame and Georgia. A lot of people say Georgia sucks. Notre Dame's not that good or whatever. I like what I saw out of Notre Dame, honestly. On the line play, they kept Georgia's defense off of the quarterback, Ian Book. They run a lot of formations with two tight ends, which if you got good tight ends, we've seen in the NFL, they're hard to defend. You got guys going down the seam that are, if you're fast and big and strong, very, very seldom do the guy defending you have more than two out of those three attributes. I mean, if you get lined up against a corner, you're obviously taller and stronger. You may not be as fast, but you can box out a guy. And if you get boxed out, if you get paired up with a linebacker, he may be big and strong, but he's not as fast, not as tall, and not as agile generally. So Notre Dame did some good things. Georgia didn't look as good as I thought they would, and we'll find out what does that mean. Does that mean Notre Dame's better than we thought, or Georgia not as good as we thought? Probably could have sealed that game late. 4th and 1, you go for the field goal. Sure points, go up by 6. If you don't get it, you're only up. It ends up being up by 3, and Notre Dame could tie you with a field goal or beat you with a touchdown. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Alabama did what they do. They came out quick, punched him in the mouth, and just kind of went in second gear. Put it in 4-0 and just cruise to a victory. Clemson did the same thing. Clemson played like 111 guys or something like that, crazy. Who else we got? Ohio State scored 70-something. LSU scored a bunch. And Oklahoma, I don't think Oklahoma played. So, power rankings for college. Clemson, of course. And there will be, you can go ahead and, from any video forward, Clemson will be locked number 1 till January 1st. Because I just don't see anybody giving them competition. They play North Carolina this weekend, 25-point favorite, and they'll blow them off the field easily by that 25, I think. Bama, they got some competition coming up. I don't think Auburn's as good as a lot of people do. They did beat Texas A&M this weekend, but that quarterback, he's a freshman, and he's going to make some freshman mistakes. I don't think he can keep up with Alabama. They're number 2, of course. I put Georgia in 3 because they got a good win. And we'll see going forward against Auburn, against Florida, against LSU, or any of these other teams, how good they are. Ohio State at 4, I just think they'll overpower the competition. The Big Ten is not all that great, and Michigan is garbage. Ohio State's biggest test will be Wisconsin later in the year. We'll see how that pans out. One of those two teams will win the Big Ten. Knowing Wisconsin, they'll lose to Northwestern or Michigan State, and they'll be knocked out of the playoff as well. I'm not as big on LSU as everybody else is. I know Joe Burrow throws for 400 yards a game, this, that, and the other, but their secondary isn't good. They give up 40-plus to Texas. They give up 38, I think, to Vanderbilt. So there's a chink in that armor, and yeah, they throw the ball, and yeah, they can run the ball, and they can play good defense front 7-wise, but I think they get beat over the top, and some team like Alabama can expose them there. So I'm not as big on LSU as everybody else is. We'll see. Right now, I'd put Ohio State in the 4th spot just because I think they go undefeated. So Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and then I got LSU and Oklahoma in there. Oklahoma's going to blow away a lot of teams. Texas will be their biggest test. We'll see if Texas can knock them off. NFL football, power rankings. New England, they do what they do. Kind of like Clemson. Get out to a big lead, put it down at 4-0, and cruise to a victory. Don't get anybody hurt. Tom Brady looks as good as he ever has. I'm curious to see if they add anybody now with the Antonio Brown fiasco over with. Did they add another piece, or they just go with Gordon and Edelman and Philip Dorsett? It seems like they might have one other guy. I'm sure they'll trade somebody for a 4th-round pick and give them another receiver in there. Kansas City, they beat Baltimore. Everybody's a darling for the last couple weeks. Pat Mahomes, what can you say? No Tyreek Hill. He still does it with the other guys. You got Hardman and these random receivers that come out of nowhere. Kelsey's still a stud. 2 or 3 running backs in the backfield. Shady McCoy had a big day yesterday for him. So Andy Reid's got it going. They need to pick up somebody in the defense to slow them down, whether it's another pass rusher or a lockdown corner. That's going to be a fault. They can't score 50 every game and expect their defense not to. So they get a defensive piece, they'll be right up there. Number 3 for me, I'll say Dallas right now. Dallas' defense is pretty good enough, and Dak's in that contract year playing really well. Witten's been a surprise. Elliott's not full strength yet, even though he will be in a couple weeks. Amari Cooper looks great. And they got a couple other guys on the outside to help him out. Dallas at 3. Rams, it's hard to bet against them. If Gurley was 100%, I'd probably put the Rams above Dallas, but right now I'm just not sure how good they are. They're kind of one-dimensional. They still run the ball a lot, but it's not as effective as it was. So I got them at the 4th spot. Sean McVay and Jared Goff are smoothed over, and Cooper Kupp is the modern-day Wes Welker and doing a hell of a job getting open down the field. 5th, I put the Ravens in there because Lamar Jackson is just hard to defend. He's an X factor. Even if the play breaks down, he can run for kind of like a Michael Vick, really. And he's played really well, but we kind of saw playing a better team against a better defense and an offense that can score. He's not as great as we thought he was, but he's still somewhere in the middle there. I mean, he's not Mahomes yet, but he's a solid quarterback, but he's not Michael Vick yet, and so we'll see. Also on that list, I got the Packers. They're 3-0, and with a defense, Aaron Rodgers could be dangerous if he's within a striking distance late. The Packers are always dangerous. Got some crazy other teams in here that are undefeated. Buffalo, who would have thought that? I'm sure the Bills Mafia is busting every table in Buffalo. Detroit is 2-0-1. If they didn't tie that game and give up like 18 unanswered to Kyler Murray, they're 3-0. They beat Philadelphia yesterday, so Matt Patricia might know something, maybe. It's still early yet. And then San Francisco with Jimmy G back healthy, a whole bunch of guys, Kittle and Deebo Samuels, and 3 running backs in the backfield, a decent defense. San Francisco is 3-0, so they might make some noise in the West and take Seattle's spot right behind the Rams in the West. Other contenders, I think, New Orleans, if they can be a little over 500 before Drew Brees gets back with Bridgewater back there, they're a contender, especially in that division that's kind of weak with the Falcons and Panthers and the Buccaneers. The Colts are 2-1. They got them and Houston's got a good shot at fighting it out for that division. Deshaun and Nuke and them hadn't been on the same page here the last couple weeks. They win games, but not pretty. Minnesota, I mean, they're 2-1. Dalvin Cook's one of the most dynamic guys in the league. Touches the ball a lot. So, all these guys are still in the mix. Not like the eliminated list, which is getting pretty big. In my opinion, these teams are already eliminated. There's more, but they're still early. I hadn't eliminated them yet, but Miami Dolphins are gone. The Jets are done. The Bengals are done. Pittsburgh's done. Titans are done. The Broncos are done. Oakland, Washington, the Panthers. Even though the Panthers won yesterday with Kyle Allen, and people are saying, well, that's the end of the Cam Newton era. Not really. You pay that guy a lot of money. You're not going to just get rid of him because Kyle Allen won a football game. Now, at the end of this year, you might get rid of Rivera and Cam Newton as a package deal and just get rid of everybody. Tampa Bay and Arizona also out. Props to Daniel Jones, the first-round pick for the Giants, takes over for Eli Manning and wins the game with his leg, scores 2 rushing touchdowns. The idiot who built the new Seattle Dome but didn't put a roof on it in Seattle needs to be fired. That guy's engineering degree obviously is useless. You play in a dome and it rained all day yesterday, so that's one of the dumbest things I've seen. But power rankings for the NFL, one more time. New England, Kansas City, Dallas, the Rams, Baltimore, and then the Packers on the outside looking in. That's my Monday morning review. Try to get a hot dog in this afternoon. If not, I'll have one tomorrow. Thanks you guys for watching. See you tomorrow.